And then that brings us years later to the actual consumer release of the Oculus Rift. So before this, we had two prototypes. There was the HD prototype went to the developer kit 2, and then the prototype right before the consumer was called the Crescent Bay. And that was essentially close to this with just a couple of bells and whistles, not quite there yet, but it was still really good. They showed that at trade shows. But again, it still didn't have the final polish and just, user friendliness and just even having some of the features I'll show you. So the big issue with this is because of the developer kits, it was people were waiting, they knew Oculus was coming out, it's what's the price point going to be? And everybody expected roughly $300 to $400, and then it came out at $600, and people were not happy. But what you get for $600 is, I'm pretty sure they're selling these things at cost or a loss. You're getting way, way better tech than you've ever had before. The resolution's almost 2K per eye. It's using two screens as opposed to one screen like it was using before with two lenses. So it's actually two different screens that are rendering, and it's just there's zero latency. The screen door effect's almost non-existent. And it's just a way, way crazier product. And it's really slick. So it's very smart and easy to set up. And now you have this guy, which we'll put up. This is the new version of this camera. This one, however, can track movement, physical movement around a space. So you can actually walk in the world and move in the environment and bend down to the ground to pick things up. So it's just night and day difference. And then the competitor to Oculus is the HTC Vive. And that's based on the same tech, but instead of just having one camera, the headsets are very similar. It has back cameras too, so this one only has a limited range of where you can move around, and the other one is built to move around, so that's where they have the other cameras set up, and you kind of just navigate and go a little crazy. But yeah, so this one has built-in 3D 360 sound headphones on the side, much more slick presentation, and just overall more comfortable wear, way lighter. It's just, it actually feels like a consumer product. But we are still at the very beginning, so this is equivalent of the original Nintendo as far as games are concerned. But it's still really good, but going forward it's just going to get way crazier. So the Oculus ships with both a remote and an Xbox controller. Later this year they're coming out with this thing called Oculus Touch, which is motion-based controllers, which is basically like a ring type of setup that has a bunch of sensors on it that goes around your hand and two thumbsticks. But the thing about the ring is it registers your finger movements. So you can actually, if you're playing this game, The Climb, you're actually, putting your fingers on things and it registers that. HTC Vive has two motion controllers that are more like wands kind of a thing with, your thumbstick on it, and that's where you can, pick things up and move it. It's the same kind of tech. But when you get in there, you go into just the Oculus Home, which is kind of a virtual, living room kind of thing. And then you have your library of games and apps and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like they're creating their own app store platform.